All right. So we're here in the
Hi.
costume department with Peggy Hogan, who's the costume designer. And Peggy, perhaps you can tell us a little bit about the design elements for Oedipus and Antigone and why people are going to be wearing what they're wearing.
Oh, wow. Um,
Is there one piece? These are all pieces from the show here right now, right?
these are pieces from this rack is Oedipus,
Okay.
and this rack here is I'm preparing for fittings tomorrow for Antigone, and the chorus is what you can see at the beginning.
Okay.
Doing them in all shades of khaki to kind of bring in that military element that's so prevalent in the play, but we're doing them as in civilian khaki clothes. I think it's going to be an interesting combination. It's kind of fun doing the chorus because they're kind of abstract, you know. So the design for them can be a little more fanciful, I think.
They look like they're like a good blend of like modern look and like a classical look.
Yeah, I am able to do some of that in the in the show. Like this is a dress that Ismini is going to be wearing, which is very classical in cut, but it's also quite modern. And we're being careful to set the period in a time when women really were not. We're still subjected to men's kind of rule in a lot of ways, and didn't I kind of see it as pre even having the vote.
Oh yeah.
For the females, and this one is something I'm working on for Antigone, who I see her as she is. Her character is she's rebellious and a strong individual, and I'm trying to portray that in this costume that has a little military feel going on, but at the same time it's very grounded in the female kind of a look from, let's say, the 19 teens and women were actually at that period of time, because they were so influenced by the First World War and whatnot, were wearing kind of quasi-military kind of clothes. So I'm working with that idea for her.
What are the most important first steps for you as a designer when you start to work on a show? What are the first things that you like to do?
I like to. I get a lot of inspiration from fabrics. Certainly, I touch base with the director in a major way and with the script. And then I start looking at fabrics and textures and colors and whatnot. And also, I really like to, I always keep a file of photographs or images. I've saved them from magazines, from historical kind of books and whatnot. So, because there's such a plethora of shapes, and I begin to kind of put together shapes and silhouettes, really, from periods that appeal to me. Because in a lot of ways, too, like I like to do, I like to aid the drama and what's going on in the show, but I also like to do stuff that I find interesting, so that it gives me a motivation. And and in the end, you can do almost anything that you want. Like, within reason, you can pull from all kinds of disparate kind of places to come up with a design. And then I rely on my instincts too a lot, I think.
And when you're finished, when you've gone through the process now of doing the design and the building, when do you know that the costume design is at its completion, when you've really sort of hit it?
Well, very important step is is that first real fitting with the actors.
Right.
And it's important that they buy into what you're doing, and that they're comfortable. So there's a lot of technical stuff that you're just dealing with, and how people are going to get in and out of things, and how stuff is going to close. And but really, I have to see it on stage when you have the ensemble and the group together, and especially with the aid of lighting. And then there's a whole other ream of stuff that then often you're, you know, you have to do, because you see stuff that you just didn't see before until you get it up there.
And you've done a lot of work in theater and film
Yep.
and television. And what's the difference about doing costume designs for the theater as opposed to doing them for film or television?
Oh, well...
Or is there any?
Oh yeah, there are. I mean, in terms of the workload, big differences. Like in film, in theater, you're working towards an opening night, and then your job really is kind of done. In film, you work towards an opening night, people say, every day. You know, you have actors coming through and you're processing. It really is demanding in a whole other way.
Right.
And also, the camera comes in close on stuff. So, you know, if you're breaking down something, which, you know, is a big part of theater and film, to look aged, you know, as if the character has owned that item of clothing for 10 or 20 years sometimes. On stage, you really have to do it with big, bold kind of moves, where in film it's much more subtle.
Right.
And, unless, of course, you're doing fantasy, and, you know. But I'm talking about kind of more reality-based stuff.
Right. And out of the pieces that you've designed for this one, do you have a favorite?
Not really. They're all like, at this point, they're all sort of like little children. I don't know.
You just can't say it in front of them.
But you know, I love some of the materials. Like, I love the weight, and you know, I'm really am attracted to the feel. It's certainly what Todd was really looking for, was some real earthy, woolly, you know, weighty kind of fabrics and whatnot, right?
Right.
And that's really fun. And you know, but the thing is too, is that what I'm trying to do anyway, is in some ways is avoid the suit for the men.
Right.
So we're experimenting a bit, and we'll see how it's all going to work out. Building jackets and stuff for the guys in this real kind of foamy material that I think on stage under the lights is going to have a really nice look.
Great.
And also, you know, working with that whole idea of the constructivist kind of design theme that we're working with, which for me, even though I'm working with curves and shapes and people's bodies and armholes and all that kind of stuff, I'm trying to make the forms really simple and blocky, and stick with kind of primary colors, and as a way of expressing that constructivist concept in art.
Right. Well, thanks for your time. I'll let
Okay.
you get back to work.
Thank you.
All right.